Today we'll be going over our liquidity preference model in Chapter 15. First, we'll look at the aggregate demand and the aggregate supply model. We have quantities on the x-axis, price on the y-axis, an upward sloping short-run aggregate supply, a downward sloping aggregate demand. Now we're going to take a look at what happens if an expansionary policy is put into place. This will shift the aggregate demand to the right and the long run aggregate supply to the right as well. This will create a new price value and a new quantity value, increasing prices and increasing quantity output. This means that the amount of money will also increase. Now we'll go ahead and take a look at the liquidity preference model. On the liquidity preference model, we have an x-axis with quantity of output, y-axis with the interest rates, the supply of money, which is also known as the monetary supply, which is seen as a vertical line. There is also the liquidity preference curve, which is sloping downward, and this may also be referred to as the demand slope for money. We know that our money supply has increased, so we'll shift it to the right, giving us a new equilibrium, interest rate, and a new quantity of output. As you can see, the interest rate has decreased, and our quantity of output has increased. It is also important to remember that this will not change unless there is a demand for money or change in money supply, which can only be directed by the Fed. Another thing we'll look at is how banks try to respond to recession or depression. During these times, banks will lower their interest rates to encourage growth in aggregate demand. I'll show that here. However, when they do this, the interest rates approach zero. At this point, monetary policy does very little. This is what they call a liquidity trap.